Hello, everybody. Aiden here, and welcome back to another video here on the Around the Slice Entertainment YouTube channel. Tonight, just like last week, I'm here to give you guys my official review and discussion for episode 2 of the Game of Thrones spinoff, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, that premiered on HBO and HBO Max. So, without wasting any more time, let's just hop right into it. I'm going to give you some positives, some negatives, some theories and predictions I have going forward, and what I'm looking forward to the most going forward. And then, of course, in real time, a final score with all you guys. So, first, let's touch on how we began this episode because I really like the tone. Well, let's backtrack a little. If you guys missed my review from last week, that's okay. Although I highly encourage you to check that out. But long story short, I did not enjoy the premiere. A lot of people seem to enjoy it because of the more comedic and lighthearted flair, and I was not one of those people. I was in the very small minority, apparently, that didn't enjoy it. It was just a bit too breezy and slow for me personally. I wanted it to have more stakes and seriousness and grounded type stuff, if you will, just like Game of Thrones. And I thought it was a bit chaotic and all over the place with its storyline and characters specifically and mainly and what have you and all that. But I thought this episode 2 was a great, much improved. As you'll see by my final score at the end that I do with you guys, I thought it was awesome. First, going forward here, I want to start with how we began this episode. I really enjoy the flashback / storytelling backwards of that Sir Dunk used at the beginning, with which we come to find out later Sir Dunk used to be a squire for this one specific night, and then flashback, the night was at the beginning. I wish we spent a little more time with that night and how he had an impact on Duncan, as he was a squire in his early days. But it's clear from his conversation with Egg at the very end of the episode, it's quite clear and obvious that we're going to explore the past relationship with Sir Dunk as a squire, and forgive me, I can't remember the knight's name, but the knight that we saw in the beginning with the narrated flashback from Sir Dunk, um, which I really enjoy. I really love seeing backstories on certain characters, so that's pretty sweet in my opinion. Next, I'm really digging how the structure of these episodes, how these episodes are presented to us. I really like how these episodes in stories feel more intimate and focused. Last week's episode was around about 30 minutes before, last week's episode was about 40 minutes before credits rolled. This week's episode, about 30 minutes before credits rolled. I love this 30 to 40-minute time frame that we're using for the structure of these episodes because I like Game of Thrones, but let's be honest, Game of Thrones can get very overwhelming at times. It can be chaotic sometimes with its world building and high stakes and how many characters and then lore driven it is. So I like these more small scale stories, and intimate is the perfect word because this show is built on relationships, character driven, story driven, the journey and budding relationship between um Sir Duncan as a hedge knight. Maybe he'll become a full knight by the end of the show. I hope that's the case, just for the natural character progression and development. And Egg, speaking of Egg and Sir Duncan, the budding relationship between Sir Duncan and Egg as the squire specifically is really hitting home for me. I'm really digging their relationship. It's literally and figuratively the heart and soul of this episode, or of this show as a whole, honestly, overall, for me personally. And I actually enjoying the comedic flair now. I'm coming around to the idea that it's, like I said, with the intimacy of the series is apparently, I'm really coming to the idea that this show is built more on character relationships than anything else. And I legitimately laughed out loud. Like, I legitimately chuckled quite a few times whenever Sir Duncan and Egg, the squire Egg, were on screen together. Like, their dialogue, they don't have too long of conversations just yet. They're building towards that, but the dialogue between them is witty, clever. They have these quick quips, if you will. They have these one-liners kind of like razzing each other that I thought was really funny. I chuckled quite a few times. Egg's innocence is really sweet to me. Sir Duncan guiding him. The conversations they have, like, I thought there was that one sweet moment that towards the middle of the episode where Egg was going like, "Oh, I could never do that. I'm too scrawny," or "Oh, I could never do that. Everyone says that I'm too small." And so Dunk basically says, "Nah, man, you can not kid. You can basically do whatever you want. People used to call me stupid, and look where I am now. I'm on a big knight. I'm a hedge knight currently, but maybe I'll progress to something more one day." And I really like that sweet moment between them. Their budding relationship is really carrying the show for me. Not that I didn't enjoy many of the aspects of that episode, because I did, but I love their dialogue, and their budding relationship is literally the heart and soul. I'll keep saying it till I'm blue in the face of this episode for me. Last major point I wanted to bring up. So I've come around to the idea of the comedic flair and whole lightheartedness, if you will, of this entire show as a whole. But I think episode 2 um, blended perfectly of comedic flair and lighthearted stuff in the first half of the episode, and the second half of the episode with all the jousting, it got much more serious. Now, are there stakes yet of Game of Thrones? No, I don't think we'll ever get there based on these first 2 episodes in terms of being that threatening, that mood swing, that dark of a tone. But I love seeing those notes of that serious tone, if you will, at the end with all the jousting. And then it leads into the conversation around the fire with Duncan and Egg. I talked about their budding relationship over and over. I don't know. I feel like we got a nice combination of comedic flair / lightheartedness and serious tones in the back half of the episode, specifically with all the jousting that took place. And I like that they're not totally ripping off. Like, I don't want to say ripping off. That's not the right terminology, because of course it's a spin-off. It's a true in the same universe per se. So they're not ripping off Game of Thrones, but I like the subtle hints. I like the subtle references to Game of Thrones. Like, we don't have to go full serious tones just yet with Game of Thrones, but I like the family name drops. Like, I like how they have references like Baratheon, seeing some original Targaryens, seeing some original Lannisters. I really like that family dynamic and the whole power play originally of the Seven Kingdoms. And I like how they keep mentioning King's Landing. Maybe we'll get there one day, maybe not, who knows. But yeah, I don't know, man. I really enjoyed this episode. I was overall overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed. Overall underwhelmed. And the word I used in the title last week was disappointed. I literally named it, well, that was disappointing, because I was disappointed. Talking with some family members, and my hype meter for it was pretty high. But I like how the subtle Game of Thrones main series references. I like how this episodes 2 specifically, we're talking about, blended this comedic flair and lightheartedness in the first half of the episode, and then didn't go full bore, high stakes, threatening shit in the second half of the episode. But we got notes, if you will, small notes here and there of that serious tone. I thought the jousting scenes was done really well. I thought the whole movement and graphics of that was really well done. I thought the acting was really well done in those jousting scenes, in particular, one after another. Yeah, man. And then the budding relationship, I thought the dialogue was great. I actually chuckled quite a few times. So I'm coming around this show for sure, man. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, for someone that was disappointed last week, I know this is going to be a major jump. But I'm going to give this episode a 9.25 out of 10. I only dock it a few notches here and there, just subtle notches here and there, just because I wish we spent more time in the flashback in the beginning with what we now know is when Sir Duncan was a squire. It was his knight, although I know we're going to explore that going forward. I'm really excited to see how that occurs and goes down, if you will. And then I knock it another notch just because I don't think it's fully embrace what it wants to be in terms of its purpose, in terms of its characters. I like the relationship between Egg and Sir Duncan. I really love it, but I want some other, players, if you will, people in this universe to get involved with them. So 9.25 out of 10. I'm really digging this more intimate and focused 30 to 40 minute stories. Game of Thrones is like most episodes are an hour to an hour 15, and it can get overwhelming for sure. I know I felt that, especially in the later seasons, at quite a few moments, unfortunately. So yeah. Anyways, guys, episode 2, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I want to reiterate 9.25 out of 10. Huge jump, but yeah. Anyways, guys, let me know down in the comments below. What did you think of this episode? Did you love it as much as I did? how did it compare to the premiere for you? Maybe you love the premiere. Maybe you were like me in the small minority that was disappointed. Let me know all that down in the comments below. We always have fun and exciting new video ideas, videos in particular coming out on this channel. But for regularly scheduled programming that you can, our staples every week here, you can expect every Sunday night, we got A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And then every Thursday night, we got The Pit. And of course, we'll be covering other shows like Memory of a Killer that just premiered on FX on Hulu, The Beauty that just premiered on FX on Hulu. I don't have concrete days of the week nailed down for that yet, but for concrete days, another Seven Kingdoms every Sunday night, The Pit every Thursday night. HBO Max is knocking it out of the park right now. They're killing it with those two shows, and obviously Game of Thrones is their trademark. So yeah, you could please you can follow me on Twitter /X at A113 if you want to chat me and some other people about movies and other stuff like that throughout the year. Please like and subscribe. Please share this video and channel with anyone and everyone you know. I would really appreciate it. As always, thank you for the support as always, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.